Welcome you all to Evolution Careers YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe and share our videos for online tutorials. Thank you. Good evening to all. Good evening to all. Good evening to all. Let us start the session for the day. Today's topic is work-life balance. We welcome you heartily for the online webinar sessions conducted by Evolution Careers in association with RSN Consulting. I am Sukumar, the speaker for the day. I have a Bachelor's of Engineering in Mechatronics Engineering with postgraduate diploma in Business Administration with Operations Management as the major. Today's topic, work-life balance. Coming to today's topic of work-life balance, why it is so important or where we have to go right and wrong, where we are going wrong, we have to identify that to be a better individual, which is very much needed in this competitive world and also for our self-realization and self-improvement. There needs to be a clear balance between our personal life and professional life. When we don't have that balance, we end up in a lot of difficulties either in personal life or in professional life. We have to give importance to both. At the same time, we cannot have troubles in any one of them. So, how we are going to balance it, how we are going to move forward, covering both these are important aspects of today's survivor. This is very much needed, and this is where many of us fail to understand, and we end up in getting into issues again for which we have to take a lot of efforts and our time to resolve them. How personal and professional life impacts each other. We have a personal life and we have a professional life. First, we have to clearly judge what is personal life and what is professional life. Anything related to our work is professional life. Anything related not to our work can be classified as personal life. In short, we can say the time we spend in a day for our profession related activities is professional life. The amount of time we spend in a day for non-profession related activities, including hobbies, come under personal life. So, when we classify the day-to-day activities under these, then obviously we will understand clearly what is professional activities, what are professional activities and what are personal activities. They both should not impact each other. We have to ensure the balance between both so that either the personal life-based activities are not impacting the professional life, same way professional life activities are not impacting the personal life. When we make both of them or any one of them affect the other, then obviously we will end up with a lot of issues for which we have to spend a lot of time in resolving them. First of all, why we need to allow such things to happen? We might call it as fate, we might call it as destiny, we might call it as a coincidence. We might call it as a mishap, some shortcoming. We can call it by any names. But an issue is an issue, be it in professional life or a personal life. First, what we feel generally is that everybody of us are saying we are not finding time for any activity. We have 24 hours of time in a day. If we schedule it properly, if we use it wisely, more than scheduling it properly, if we use our time wisely, then we'll have sufficient amount of time required for both our personal needs and professional needs. What we usually say, we don't even call to our relatives over phone, talk to them for 5 minutes, even once in a month. Obviously, we say, yeah, I was busy, I couldn't do it. Hardly we send couple of texts in either SMS or WhatsApp and say we are connected to each other. Actually, we are not. Earlier, in olden days, when we go for a marriage, we used to stay for the whole day, whole marriage activity, right from the beginning to the end. We used to stay there and witness a marriage. But these days, either we go to the reception for hardly an hour, or to the muhurtam for hardly an hour. We go there to mark our attendances. I mean, most of us are doing this, unless otherwise is first circle marriage or very close friend or closely associated buddy's marriage. Except with those exceptions, the regular marriages, say our neighbor's marriage or some relatives, second circle relatives marriage or a common friend's marriage, when we are invited, we hardly go, first thing. Second thing, even if we go also, we end up hardly there for say 1 hour to 2 hours and then return back. Just we want to be there in their photo album. No, it's not. I mean, I just took this as an example, but yes, there are a lot of things like this which we do on day-to-day activities. First, how we can judge them, which is professional activity and personal activity. Here, a lot of the participants are from college background. One group is students and the other group is faculties, principals. I mean the teaching fraternity. One is the learning fraternity. Broadly can be classified, and few are from industries also. Let me take this example of student. What is his profession right now? His profession is student. Actually, we cannot call being a student as a profession, but just let us assume it as a profession for time being. Any activity related to his studying comes under his professional time. Morning he comes to college at say 9 o'clock. Until 4:30 or 5 he will be in college attending all the classes. Of course, in the COVID lockdown situation, all are attending classes from their home through Zoom or through Skype or through Google platforms or webinar meetings. But in normalcy situation, what they do, morning 9 to evening 4 or 5, whichever is the college stipulated timing, they will be present inside the college. I mean, if at all present, I am talking about those who are physically present inside the college only. They will be attending their classes. They will be gaining knowledge. Whether they understand it or not, that depends on the individual, and also the teaching modalities, methodologies used, and the knowledge levels of the teaching professional also. So leaving that aside, coming to the activity alone, from morning till evening, from 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock, in between there will be couple of breaks, couple of tea breaks, one lunch break. Leaving those tea and lunch breaks, remaining time he sits in the classroom or in the laboratory or in the project center or on any college activity or studies activity or maybe co-curricular activities which he is doing as a part of his curriculum, as a part of his college life. So taking all this, 9 to 4 he is into his profession. After 4, he goes back to home, and if there is any work given, any assignment or any project submissions or any exam preparations, whatever he does, he has to allocate certain time in his home also. Considering that, say to come to college at 9 o'clock, he has to get into bus at say 7 o'clock, 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So from the time he gets into the bus and from the time he gets out of bus, the entire duration comes as professional life. Beyond which, if he is allocating certain timings for his profession based activity, then that also comes under profession time. Keeping those aside, the rest of the time, once he goes to home, the student will not straight away take his or her books and start reading. They'll get freshed up, they'll eat something, then they will chat with their friends, watch TV for some time, maybe news or some entertainment, anything. Or instead of TV, they might watch something in YouTube or social media or any websites. Out of his own interest, related to his hobbies or his passions or his likes and dislikes. Based on his likes and dislikes, he or she will be doing certain activities. After that, in between these activities, they'll be talking to their people at home, parents, siblings, grandparents, etc. And after doing all these activities, they'll allocate certain time like 1 hour or 2 hours for their studies. So 8 to 10 hours of regular activity and a supplementary activity of 1 or 2 hours. So totally these 10 hours they will be allocating it for their profession, and remaining 14 hours is for the personal space. And in those personal spaces, they have to sleep, they have to find their entertainment modalities, they have to refresh themselves, they have to do their daily course, they have to keep themselves energized. So all this they utilize it for their personal activities. Coming to coming to the teaching fraternity, more or less it is same thing, but the difference is teaching fraternity, they come to college with teaching as profession. So from morning until evening, the time student is available in the college, the teaching faculty are also available in the college. It is their workplace. So beyond workplace activity, after their regular working hours, they start preparing for the next day's sessions. So that time also gets included. And during exams or some other times, they have to allocate additional timing also for the activities. And in between, there will be certain activities like documents uploading for certain accreditations, affiliations, or any additional activities carried by their organization, be it a college, be it a company, anything. So they have to spend a lot of time over there also. Every day we cannot spend most of the time for our profession. Leaving 8 hours for sleep, rest you have 16 hours a day. In this, you have to have a balance between your professional activity and personal activities. You need some time for yourself. all the time you are awake in a day, you cannot allocate it completely for your profession. There has to be certain amount of time, minimal amount of time required for your personal desires, personal aspirations, personal likes and dislikes. Otherwise, we cannot be humans at all. First, we have to understand that. And the impacts of work life balance. One impact we can see is that the impacts of work life imbalance are, first thing, it will either affect your personal life or professional life or both. Second thing, it can take away your peace of mind. Third thing, it can give you nothing. And like this, we can tell many things. First thing, when your life gets disturbed with the imbalance, then you cannot concentrate on any activity. Your mind will not be focused. When your mind is not focused, you know what will be the impacts of them, impacts of the activities you do. The activities will not be effective. You will not be effective. So, in short, we need to have a clear balance to the maximum possible extent between professional and personal time, personal allocations of the day. Then only you will be able to sustain well, survive well. First, you can be healthy first. You will avoid unnecessary tensions, pressure, stress. Why these days, at the age of 40 itself, people are getting diabetic, they are going into hypertensions or hypotensions, that is low BP or high BP or low BP, or they are into other problems like gastrointestinal, in short, it is GI related health issues, or that is basically digestive issues. Why our life cycle is getting disturbed? It is predominantly because to the imbalance we have between our professional and personal timings. Lot of us may not be eating proper breakfast these days. It should not be. If you want to be a good self-made individual, first you have to keep yourself healthy. When you are healthy, only healthy physically, then only you will be able to be mentally also healthy. If you are mentally healthy and physically not healthy, it will not give result. Physical healthiness, don't take me wrong, with your available physical conditions, physic conditions, how better you are, that is physical health. It is not meaning that physically challenged people are not healthy. So we should not take in that aspect. So whatever physical conditions we have by birth or which we have currently existing, we have to take care of them. Okay, coming back to work-life balancing techniques. See, there are certain simple methods wherein you can achieve your work-life balance. First and foremost thing is how you can trade off between your personal and professional needs. There are certain things where you can trade off. One thing is that you will be spending a lot of time in your professional activity, which by effective way of planning, Sorry for the little pause. Coming back to simple methods, let us look into the simple methods for work-life balancing. First thing is trade-off between personal and professional needs. How we can do that trade-off? We have to look into it where we can trade off. One thing, we can trade off some amount of our personal time for our professional duties. Like on special occasions where you need to spend extra time in the office or your workplace, in short, then yes, for a day or two in a month, you can do that. But it cannot be a routine work for the entire career of yours. If that is there, then you will not have personal time at all. This one trade-off we can do. Second thing, where we can minimize the time taken to complete our professional activities. With effective usage of the resources, the time availability, with some little proper planning. Small improvements which can bring you significant developments in your professional life. You have to look for them each and every day. Very small things. Those are called as kaizens in manufacturing industry language. Those are called as kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese word which has a meaning of a minor change that can bring a significant improvement in the process. You can implement such kaizens each and every day in your professional life. A lot can be implemented. When you do those, you will be more productive, more effective. You will be effectively utilizing the time. You will not be spending work beyond your stipulated working hours. Unless otherwise there is an emergency or a need or a specific need on certain occasions. Except that rest of the time you will be effectively managing your day. In personal life, you cannot put on time schedule and work. That is obviously known. At least in your professional life, if you properly put on your time schedule and work and be more effective and productive, then the entire amount of personal space or the timing allocated on daily basis, you can have it fully for you and your family. Just because you are a professional, it doesn't mean that you can keep your family priorities aside and do only work 24/7 working only. No, it should not be. You need to have your personal space. You need to have some personal activities also to be done on daily basis. Then only work will not be monotonous and you will be more happier, rejuvenated. There will be a proper balance wherein you will be happy, your family will be happy, and that in turn will not give you any sort of personal problems which are caused due to your profession. Of course, there will be personal issues or professional issues in day by day life, but the better you solve them, the effective way you perform your duties, those can be avoided to the majority extent, and with those you can easily manage things very well and be happy without major issues. Clear understanding between what is your profession, what is the amount of time needed on daily basis for it. This can guide you very well to manage yourself. Taking clear stand on scope of works. This is where a lot of us miss first to understand. When you are given or appointed for a work, you need to have a clear-cut identification on your scope of work. What is your scope of work? Without your scope of work, clarity, you cannot be excelling in your field, be it anything, be it any profession. Even if you are a sweeper, you have to have the clarity of your scope. Which things that sweeper has to sweep, which places, using which kind of broomsticks or mops or the cleaning equipments, cleaning tools. What are the safety cautions to be followed? What are the timings to be followed? If you have that clarity, you can perform that activity in the best effective way, provided you are having the required amount of skill set and knowledge. If you don't have that clarity on your scope of work, then it is very difficult. And one more thing which you have to observe very clearly, your boss or the team leader comes to you and allocates you certain work. You have to learn to say no to certain things which you cannot do. No in the beginning itself, not after taking the work, spending a lot of time over it, and finally saying, no, I couldn't do it, or coming up with reasons. It will waste a lot of time, and also subsequently it will give a lot of additional pressure to the others who will be trying to finish that work off in a very short time. And because of this, those who are getting involved later also, their professional life is also getting impacted on those days, which they could have got a better thing if the no had come on the day one itself. If you don't know certain things, be open to say no. Learn it and do it. That's a different thing. But without learning, just because you are asked to take up that work, if you are taking up that work without having any knowledge over it, without having the basic requisites of it, then you will definitely not be effective in that work. In fact, you will be a failure. I didn't want to use negative words here, so I had told that you will be not effective. Yes, it's absolutely true. And keeping that work with you, you will be undergoing a lot of tension, a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. And where you could have happily managed your work and your personal timing, personal space, you end up in a situation where you cannot manage both because of the unnecessary tension and pressure created as a result of this. Say, coming to scope of works, let us take the college example itself. In college activities for students, one example is that somebody will be allocated into the comparing committee, where they'll be not having enough fluency of language which is needed for that activity, nor they will be interested to do. Just because they are good in some other aspects, maybe because of their grades or favoritism or some other reason, favoritism by the person in charge or the management or anybody inside. Those people, say Ramesh and Suresh, are put in the comparing committee when they are not interested. Instead of preparing it well, they are simply passing on time. And finally, the function is 2 days later, and today you are coming to know that they are not at all willing to do it. If they had told no on the day one they are allocated that work, somebody others who are effective in that could have been chosen. Somebody others who are effective in that work could have been chosen, and the work could have been done in a most effective way. But what happened ultimately in this case? You might have encountered such cases in your regular activities. If you continue with them, with their lower fluency levels of language or the lower skill sets they possess than the required levels, the activity they are performing will not be so effective and not good looking. If you change somebody, then that person might be allocated some other work already. Let us assume that that person is completely free also at that point of time from any additional activity apart from his regular activities. He or she has to prepare that within 2 days and to perform the entire activity. Where this Ramesh and Suresh had got 10 days of time and wasted 10 days of time. If these guys had been those who can do effectively had been allocated that work on day one itself, they would have hardly taken half an hour of time every day or 1 hour every day and could have easily prepared. And they would have been more confident, they would have been more effective. If they are given hardly 1 or 2 days to prepare and present, they'll be taking that huge amount of pressure from the minute they start that work. And with that huge amount of pressure, can they handle it very well and perform it? Is again a big question mark. Do we need to end up in that situation? Absolutely, it is not preferred situation. So when you don't know that activity or you feel that you cannot do that work, be open, admit it openly. Nobody is going to defame you or degrade you just because you don't know something. In fact, it is one of the best qualities to be a professional. At the same time, things that you know, you should not say you don't know. Things that you know, you have to be specific, you have to excel in that. Things you do not know, you have to start learning. Whenever you find time, you learn them and you start excelling in those also. But without even having basic knowledge of anything, just do not take up the work just like that because you have been allocated for it. That's the basic mistake where the professionals of today are making the blunders and ending up where it is impacting both the personal and professional life, and also at the appraisal time these sort of failures will be highlighted and they will not be given the rating which they are to be given. If they had said no in the beginning itself and have performed their duty very well, then obviously they would have got good rating also, quicker promotions, quicker increments, better increments, and also enough amount of time for both their professional and personal spaces, everything. And coming back to allocating time for work and personal needs. As I told in the beginning, see what amount of time every day your profession demands as a minimum. You have to allocate it. Beyond which, whichever additional time you can allocate, only you allocate that. To complete all your activities within that allocated time, what you have to do? You have to plan the activities in very effective manner using your effective talent, skills, managing yourself. Your time management skills play a vital role here. The effective usage of the time available that determines how fast you can complete that activity and how much of time you can allocate it for your personal needs. Once you do that, you are safe and secure. Say, let us take the example of the same college student or the teaching faculty. Morning 9 to 4, yes, they have to do the activity. Say they take 30 minutes to travel back to home or 1 hour. 5 o'clock they will be reaching home. It is better to allocate from 5 to 8 to the family or even 9 o'clock. Maybe 9 to 10 if that professional effectively manages the time, then within 1 hour the preparation can be done for the next day. Or when college holidays are there, maybe couple of days can be taken out and could have been used for preparing at least, say, for first years or second years or third years, whichever subjects they are handling. Maybe some 2-3 subjects they can easily clear for the entire semester also. Preparation part they can do. And my personal suggestion is take hints and present. Take hints and explain them rather than writing notes and spoon feeding the students. It's my personal opinion. It's up to your choice to take it or not. Why I am saying this is, this will effectively save a lot of your time. When you are teaching the concepts, you should be aware of it. You are aware of it, definitely. When you are aware of it, there is no need for each and every detailed notes taking. Concepts understanding is more important. Detailed notes by students is fine. Why the teaching fraternity has to take detailed notes first? I had observed in certain places where the notes of the faculty is as it is replicated as notes of students. That should not be there. So if you cut down those activities, hardly if you allocate 10 hours, entire subject you can cover for the entire year. First day what you have to teach and last day what you have to teach. Until that you can be having very clarity. And you can effectively use your rest of the time for spending with your family, with your children. If you are unmarried, you can spend with your father and mother or your friends. If you are married, with wife. If you are a father or mother, then with children. So, yes. To do all this, you have to be finishing your professional activity in the shortest possible time. That is where this allocation of time for work and personal needs matter. Where we are going wrong is that we are spending more time than what it is required. Sometimes we spend for personal needs, sometimes we spend for work. And whenever we spend extra time than required, we lose the time of the other activity, for the other activity. And obviously this will lead to a lot of complications. So be specific. Don't spend a lot of time than it is needed. Be crisp, be clear. Discuss to the point if you are in a discussion. And I have lot of times observed that in lot many meetings, the meeting would have been scheduled for hardly 30 minutes, but it will go for 2 hours or 3 hours duration. The meeting agenda would be something, instead of discussing crisp and clear on the matter, they'll go in depth, in detailed analysis in the meeting itself, wasting every other's time. Every man minute counts in this present competitive world. So both it counts for your personal life and also your professional life. So don't waste your time. And another one is holidays. Whenever you get holidays, you spend with your near and dear ones. You allocate that space for your personal needs. Unless otherwise there is some emergency or some urgency, yes, you can allocate still for your profession. But in general, try to utilize that maximum for your personal space. Holidays means not only the holidays declared by your organization, it means the paid leaves given to you for the entire year. Don't try to accumulate those holidays and keep it in your savings account. In a lot of organizations, you cannot accumulate your leave balance more than 30 days at any given point of time. In certain companies, you can accumulate it for 300 days also. But in most of the companies, 99% of the companies today, you cannot accumulate beyond 30 days. Yearly, they'll be giving 20 days, which is 1.5 years leave balance only you can accumulate. If you are working for 5 years in that company, you will get 100 days of leave. If you do not take leave even for a single day, then rest of the 70 days is going waste. Neither you used it for your own benefit, nor the company is compensating you for it. So it's absolutely going waste. Why you need to waste it? Take that holidays. And lot of organizations give leave travel allowances. You claim that amount, and that is non-taxable amount. Every 2 years, 2 years once, you can have leave travel amount made non-taxable. It comes under tax exemptions. You are aware of it. You must be aware of it. Take that, save some tax also. That is the byproduct of it. The primary product of it. Take your family for a vacation trip. Go for some hill station, go for some picnic spot, go for some foreign trip. Just spend time with your family there. Fortunately, this year we had got this COVID-19. Fortunately, I am repeating the word. It is very fortunate that we got this, because of which we are locked in our houses and we are spending time with our family members. Yes, we are doing work from home. There is no doubt about it. But still, we are with our family all the 24 hours. Almost all the 24 hours, we are with them. This is very fortunate for us. We have started interacting with all our friends, second circle, third circle over phone, instead of just keeping WhatsApp messages in groups. Until then, we didn't have that idea or time. We used to have a standard reason. I was busy. I couldn't do it. I didn't find time. Now, why we are doing it? Because one thing, it became very clear. Your travel time is avoided daily, which used to be like 1 or 2 hours a day. Even if you allocate the same 9 to 4 for the profession or 9 to 5 for the profession, your travel time of 2 hours is gone down. And because of the COVID lockdown, you need not to go and drop your kids to the school, nor you have to go out for a good distance. You can roam outside. Ultimately, you have to stay inside your house. So, I am pretty sure that most of us had got our personal bondings better this time. What if the COVID has not come? We could have not achieved this. Very simple. When we are pushed into a situation only, we are thinking about it. We have made our mindsets like that. Please eradicate that. It will lead to a lot of negativity in our life. If you have a positive, healthy mindset, then only you can survive well. Ego should not be there. First thing, to be a proper professional, first and foremost thing, your ego should be within limits. For each and every small thing, egoistic attitude will always lead you to issues. Second thing, working as a team is more important. If you go for individual glories, then your work, you will not be successful in your work and also your personal life. Both professional and personal life, if you go for individual glories, then it will end up in no result, or it will give you a negative result only. It may temporarily give you a result that looks positive for you, but if you see it in long term, the impacts of that going for personal glory will pull you down always. The temporary results that come out are accidental or coincidental. It is not as a result of that search for individual glory. And the third important thing is that respect each other irrespective of their academic qualifications. This is more important. The respect should come based on their skill set, talents, and their behaviors. Yes, the educational qualification, they have to be respected, but at the same time, beyond that, you have to take all these into account. Always you cannot just respect by the designations, by the positions, or by the qualifications written beside the names. How good a person is effective in managing his professional and personal life? What kind of attitude he has? What kind of behavior he has? How good he is in interpersonal relationships? How good he is in managing time effectively? How good he is displaying his skill set? Here he is used as a common gender. So based on that, one has to be respected. Nobody is perfect in this world. Nobody knows everything. I know certain things which you might not be knowing. You know many things which I might not be knowing. I have to respect the things you know, the knowledge you possess, and at the same time, I expect the same thing from your end. This is my nature, and everybody has their individual natures over it. But ultimately, the basic thing you have to follow is mutual respect. That will make your interpersonal relationships very strong. In professional life, you can simply say there is no need of any interpersonal relationships, but it is very much needed. To the extent it is needed, you have to have it, otherwise you cannot be an effective team player. When you are not an effective team player, you cannot be effective team leader. When you are not an effective team leader, you are nothing in this competitive world. Simple. And whenever you are going for your personal space, personal timings, going back into this developing interpersonal relationships, be friendly with all your colleagues. Say if you are HOD of a department, be friendly with your other HODs of other departments, be friendly with your subordinates, other teaching faculty, be friendly with the management, be friendly with the principal. Obviously, it is difficult to be friendly with each and everybody. Keeping personal differences aside, You have to work together as an organization. So there, keep your personal things aside and see based on work. Avoid blame games. Avoid pointing out others for your own faults. Take collective responsibility. Be accountable. Simple. This will lead to a lot of things. Lot of good positivity, and everybody will be happy. Everybody will be growing together. And coming to the last aspect, last methodology, which is another simple method, you reduce using gadgets in your personal time, like cell phones, laptops, watching TV for most of the time, music systems. Avoid it as much as you can when you are spending time with your family. Or when you are with a person, avoid using gadgets. When you are talking to a person, concentrate on what you are talking to that person. If you are using gadgets to most of the time and you are just listening and you are using your gadgets parallelly, it means that you are not fully involved in that activity. It is as per body language terminology, it means that you do not have interest in participation in that activity. It is in a way that you are disrespecting the others who are present over there. So better, both in personal and professional time, use gadgets only when they are required. When you are with people, talk to them, interact with them, develop a good bonding.